In this video we're going to take a look at pie charts. Now, pie charts are usually used when we want to compare the data easily and also give a good visual impact. For example, if we're putting data into a presentation, they're usually only used for discrete data types. They quite often look something like this. You'll have a circle split into sections which are usually coloured in, and the size of each section represents a proportion of whatever we're measuring. So for example, it might be different pets owned by different people in a workplace or something like that. So there we have a very simple example pie chart. Let's take some discrete data then. So for example, we'll imagine we've done a survey of a school looking at how do pupils get to the school. So walking, by car, bus and train are most options. So let's imagine 701 pupils walk to school, 90 come by car, 138 get the bus in, and 5 travel by train. Now, to use this in a pie chart, we're actually going to also need to know the total number of pupils. So just adding this up, 701 plus 138 plus 5, sorry, that should be 96, so I've got that wrong. Let's add those up. That comes to 940 pupils that we've got. Now, we also need a calculation, and the way that we work out the number of degrees from the number of things that we have is we take the number measured. In our case, it will be the number of pupils with each type of transport, divide that by the total number. So in our case, that's the total number of pupils that we have, and then we times that by the number of degrees in a circle. And that in our case is 360. Now on to the tricky part of bar charts, actually using that calculation. So for our first one, for example, we take 701, divide that by the 940 pupils we had as our total, and then times that by 360 degrees in a whole circle will give us 268 degrees. Okay, so then taking that 96, dividing again by the total, which was 940, then timesing it by that 360 gives us 37 degrees. Then we take 53, divide it by 940, times by 360, 53 degrees. And then if we take those 5 pupils in the last one, divide them by 940, times them by 360 degrees in a circle, gives us 2 degrees. Now if you want to pause the video there and check the working out, or to practice it, then please have a go before we move on to the next step. Okay, so now we've simplified the table down to the different types of transport and the different degrees. So usually you'll start off with a point, and from this point we're going to draw a line up. It doesn't really matter where it goes, but quite often you'll draw it straight up, and it's good to take the number of degrees from there. Now we want to measure 268 degrees. So in fact, if we're doing this with a normal protractor, you may need to measure the full 180 round to one other side, and then you would need to measure the extra with either another protractor or by moving your protractor round. Okay, so then we've got our first section of the pie chart in there. We're then going to put the car in. So we measure from that last line we drew outwards, from this line here, which I'll go over in blue, we measure 37 degrees, and then draw another line in. So then from that last line again, we measure our number of degrees for the bus, which is going to be 53, a bit bigger. We draw that last line in. And then for our last one, we measure our 2 degrees, which should take us just to close up the circle there. And that is how we put together our pie chart.